Hey everybody! Praise be to Arceus! The title doesn't have game theory in it! Hooray!
It's like magic. Gonna feel it like a fire. Gonna feel it like I never give up on. Gonna feel it like I never give up on you. It's like magic. I got you feeling like a fire. Got you feeling like I never give up on. Got you feeling like I never give up on. Magic, 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 magic.
So let's get right into the meat of this. I'm Skull Commentaries, and this is GCN, a video game version of CinemaSins, and a channel that I would recommend to people since whenever they do decide to upload, which seems to be as sporadic as my videos that cover a certain someone that people seem to think is my only content, they put out something at the very least that is entertaining and is a good time waster. So if you haven't put two and two together to get the magic number of fish, recently GCN put out a video covering the first Injustice game, and that's what we're covering. It's not often I can use my comic book knowledge in my commentaries, gotta use that sequential art degree for some capacity. Am I right, guys? My life isn't a waste at all! Oh, and I should point this out that I'm more for the indie, webcomic, and manga scene when it comes to sequential art. That isn't to say I don't know anything about DC, but even then, it only took a few seconds in asking a few others about some facts in the DC universe. Press start!
I had to wait for this damn Ultimate Edition to get Zatanna and Lobo.
Nope! No, you didn't! The Ultimate Edition of the game came out on November 12, 2013. Lobo and Zatanna were DLC characters that came out on May 7th and August 13th respectively of the same year. Now you can argue that it's DLC, and since the two characters cost about $5 each, including the other DLC characters in the game, that in itself could be a sin. But considering he's being vague here and I'm forced to take him at his word that he'd wait for the later edition to be playable. Had he included another line such as "cause of DLC" or something along those lines, then I wouldn't be here making this point.
No sort of tag team or battle mode. You would think in a game featuring teams of superheroes fighting each other that this would be obvious, but you'd be wrong.
I agree, having those features would be good, but you know what you could have done to help push your point home? Bring up the Marvel vs. Capcom series, which features superheroes doing tag teams. I mean, it's an older game, yes, but it would only strengthen the point that a system that is now the realm of possibility, especially since it was on older platforms.
I'm Bristol.
You drugged me! Made me... Lois, my son.
Maybe I missed something, but how would drugs affect Superman in any way? I thought his only real weaknesses were kryptonite, magic, and red sun radiation. I don't appreciate this lack of detail, game.
You practically just answered your own question there, dude. All you needed was a little common sense. How would drugs affect Superman? If you know a little bit of the DC comic lore, or even some of the other DC universes to some extent, then one thing you consider is that kryptonite can be turned into a powder. Just mix it with the right chemicals, and that diluted kryptonite can be used to make Superman vulnerable to the effects of drugs. I mean, it really all depends on the continuity, but if a Superboy villain, Shando, could gain powers from ingesting powdered kryptonite, then it's not outside the realm of possibility that it could be mixed with drugs. And there are other forms of kryptonite other than just a solid, like liquid and gas. And the Joker in the comics and cartoons has been known to be able to get kryptonite, or steal it. There's also the Scarecrow, a Batman character who's a master at making drugs. And in the comics for Injustice, he created said drug that he mixed with his fear toxins, which is what made this version of Superman go berserk. Granted, you could say that the comic explaining this is a supplemental reading and should be a sin in and of itself. Hell, you did that in your Mortal Kombat video. But a basic understanding of knowing what you can grind stones into powder, considering the characters of the DC universe, it's really easy to put two and two together that a drug was laced with powdered kryptonite. The fact you even bring up kryptonite kind of makes it more on your own lack of knowledge that you're sinning the game for, since all it takes is some logical thinking and even a bare bones grasp of the DC universe.
Well, that's rather vague. Looks like Green Lantern got hit with the plague of Stormtrooper aim. How unfortunate.
Alright, you know what, I wanted to say this for a while. I'm tired of the whole trope of Imperial Stormtrooper Marksman Academy, which, yeah, that's the full name of the trope. Since guess what? There's a reason why so many people miss on these sorts of situations and how it's justified considering that we're talking about Hal Jordan here, and how the trope, and by extension the sin, doesn't work. For one, the trope addresses mostly of the bad guys, since, well, Stormtroopers are bad guys, of course. Now, consider that Hal Jordan, aka Green Lantern, is. Essentially, the Green Lanterns act as cosmic police, and as such as a means that he works under a code of justice, that would be more than likely he would not want to shoot to kill. Shoot to wound, yes, but not kill. There's also the fact that even if his blast did hit, one of the most common and well-known weaknesses of all Green Lanterns is that they have no effect on yellow objects and such. And Sinestro is covered with yellow aura and yellow clothing, so why even bother with bullets if they may not make contact? Of course, this also goes into the continuity in which the story takes place in. Point is, there was another point you could have brought up concerning the scene, but you decided to go with tropes and tropes alone.
Gods with incredible superpowers still boils down to a fist fight.
Superman's main style of combat is hand-to-hand based. Sure, with the occasional heat beam eyes and freezing breath, which, by the way, he does do in the fight against Ares, but he's known to be a guy who fights with his fists. This is common knowledge. Hell, he did the same thing with Darkseid in the cartoons, and that was arguably one of the most epic fights of all time. Why would he change his fighting style? What are you expecting him to do, pull out a gun? I just had that try cleaned!
This was much better in Arkham Origins.
So, you're comparing one fight in a game that came out in April 2013 to a fight that came out in October of the same year. I honestly don't see how a later game that did it better is a penalty against this game since, besides the time, had different developers, different game genres, and different play styles. I get this was a joke, I guess, but I don't really see how this is a detriment to the game. Also, missed an opportunity. In this scene we see Batman throw down Deathstroke's sword, but after Batman kicks him, not only is the sword sheathed on his back, but now it's in the place of his gun.
He esperado mucho tiempo para esto. Now I break your back.
Why, yes, Bane. Keep reminding us about the only reason why people care about you.
Missed an opportunity. Ooh, critical hit to the nuts!
Why are you all the way back here when you were just here a few seconds ago?
You know, I was originally going to make a point on this since when I first watched the scene of Batman throwing the batarangs at Luthor, I was confused as to how GCN can make this point when the first portion of it has Batman fighting Bane and Luthor was watching from afar. Now, anyone who hasn't played the game or hasn't played it in a while, and frankly I fall into the latter category since it's a 4-year-old game with a sequel, and looked up the scene would be confused on the matter. I'm not saying the sin is wrong, but a little more clarification would be nice since I initially thought you would put the scenes in reverse, but no, as it turns out that the scene actually has 2 different parts to it. Probably should have made some mention of that.
Try this on, genius.
Why the hell didn't you use that gadget before the fight?
Because apparently Batman's able to miss his target, even when it's right in front of him, apparently. Better to make sure you can use that fancy gadget and not miss. Plus, you know, the fight with Bane.
What's that?
It's the none of your damn business alarm.
Also, missed opportunity to remove a sin. They got Peyton to reprise his role as Cyborg from Teen Titans cartoon, and Tara Strong for both Raven and Harley Quinn. 2 iconic voices returning to reprise roles. And need I mention Kevin Conroy as Batman? For shame, GCN. For shame.
This is why you shouldn't use nanomachines.
It's not nanomachines.
Nanomachine, son!
It's the sound that's being caused by Batman's gadget. How do I know? Because we can see the Joker preemptively cover his ears when Batman uses a sonic sound attack, and how the goons are eventually covering their ears just like the Joker. Besides, how would Batman even know they were using nanomachines? He just got into the universe!
Where did you say the battery was?
Carol Ferris's office, left at the next hallway, 3rd door on the right.
It's the 4th door.
If you know where it is, then why did you ask?
Green Lantern asked where his lantern was, not where the office was. Green Lantern knows Carol Ferris since they work/have a relationship together, and thus would know where her office is. When GL heard it was in Carol's office and that it was on the 3rd door, it was to point out that something's not right and to hint that the player and GL that they might be in a different universe since Hal knows about Carol's office and it being the 4th door.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
Chicken attack! Chicken attack!
Ares, why are you here?
I feed on conflict. Until today I've been starving.
Just in case you needed some backstory on Ares, even though he's based off the Greek god of the same name.
Funny, cause, Greek mythology never said that Ares needed to absorb psychic energy or conflict, and that was only a trait that he had in DC universes.
You're weak, Ares.
Superman's reign has nearly eliminated conflict. Left me virtually powerless.
Then why did you attack the person who is responsible for you regaining the source of your power?
Gee, thanks for taking that scene out of context.
Ares, why are you here?
I feed on conflict. Until today I've been starving. I sensed the return of aggression and sought its cause.
You did more than that. You brought us here.
No, but I can guess who did.
My fire doesn't need stoking, Ares. Tell me who.
You presume to command me?
I do. And you will obey.
Aquaman was demanding information from Ares, and when Ares denied, Aquaman attacked him. Ares didn't start nothing.
Boy, that Wonder Woman outfit looks suspiciously like Chun-Li's evening gown that she wears on occasion. You trying to compensate for something Netherrealm?
Oh yes, because despite the fact the two dresses have completely different styles, with Chun-Li's being more similar to a Chengasan, while Wonder Woman's has a much longer skirt with a red coloring. Yeah, really similar. And don't give me that it isn't shown in the game. Get that sin out of here!
Nice work, Hal. How did
It's
you...
not him.
What?
His DNA matches Bruce Wayne's, but his vitals are all wrong.
His DNA matches, but his vitals are wrong? Do you regularly travel between parallel dimensions?
When did this Superman make the implication that Batman was from a different dimension? He never said that. For all we know, the Batman from this universe could have internal scars, torn internal tissues, or even have organs missing. Even if the alt Batman had a kidney missing and the main Batman didn't, that could easily tip Superman off that this was a different Batman than the one he knows. Unless this was in a scene that you don't show, then that falls onto how you're not showing the line. From where I'm standing, stop stuffing words into people's mouths! You're more than likely to...
How did you get a hold of the 5U93R pill? The only person who had it was alternate timeline Batman, and you never came in contact with him.
Wrong! No, the game outright tells you that Superman gives them out to his flunkies.
Bats can tell you the rest later if you're having trouble sleeping. He borrowed the recipe from Superman. Soups gives it to his flunkies.
Once again, paying attention and a little logical thought can show that since the Joker took a car from one of the flunkies who had nanotech, one could easily assume that he took the pills from the flunky that the Joker killed. Or knocked out, it's hard to tell.
Arrow Man, Grundy.
No, Grundy. You're a zombie. You are invulnerable to any sort of pain.
Oh yes, because all zombie lore applies to every single zombie across all forms of media. That's why Grundy can talk, just like all the walkers in The Walking Dead. Also, once again, glance over DC history. Both comic, other games, and animation, Grundy has been knocked out, felt pain, and even killed.
Solomon Grundy want pants too.
You're using common zombie lore on Grundy, when clearly since the fact he's talking, a common piece of zombie lore is that they can't speak. And you're using it against the game. Bravo!
How did you hide anything in here from Superman? Looks like he was pretty thorough.
The cave walls are injected with lead polymer. There's no way he could find what we're here for.
How would lead polymer hide any weapon from Superman? Wouldn't he just burn through the damn caves if he was that paranoid?
Comic book knowledge that you don't care about! It's a common trait that Superman can't see through lead with his X-ray vision. And it's a real-world fact as well. X-rays notoriously fail to penetrate lead. Even then, Superman would have no idea how deep or where the cave was, or even if it existed. Batman has kept several secrets from Superman before in the past, and this is no different.
And another thing, our Wonder Woman is better looking.
Yeah, but aren't they practically identical? And didn't you say that their Green Arrow would probably be as handsome as you?
Our Green Arrow was just as arrogant.
And probably just as handsome.
It's an insult! Green Arrow was trying to psych out and trash talk this world's Wonder Woman. Seriously, how is that a sin in writing? He's also trying to turn an insult at him into a compliment. It's wordplay and how it reflects the character.
Batman, this is Cyborg. We have the watchtower, but we've got a problem. The reactor's gonna blow.
Can you stop it?
It's a runaway. You have 90 minutes.
That reactor must be feeling pretty generous if it's going to take 90 minutes to explode, even though it's already going critical.
Once again, where did Cyborg say it was going critical? He just said it was going to blow according to your scenes. Would it actually kill you to include the clip where Cyborg says to prove your point?
I think these are places where the duplicates arrived. This one may be the source of the transfer.
The insurgency.
I don't know yet. It's just a theory.
A game theory!
You're dead to me, GCN. You hear me? You're dead!
And people made a big deal about Man of Steel, huh?
Those are completely different contexts. In Man of Steel, Superman was considered the good guy in there. Well, for the most part. The family that was being threatened by Zod's laser beams could easily have gotten out of the way. Superman could have taken Zod out in other ways without having to kill him. And once again, Superman wasn't directly evil. Or at least they weren't portraying him to be evil. In this situation, this Superman is evil and killing Lex Luthor, who was backstabbing him, which you point out as well in your video. Completely different situations. And with that, I'll end it here. And I want to say again, I am a fan of GCN. Most of the time, they can entertain me with their critiques and nitpicks. I could even agree with a handful of them in this very video. However, when you're foregoing context not only to make nitpicks, but to prove your nitpicks right, fail to do simple logic or have things fly overhead in basic matters, it makes me want to send you instead of the game. I ain't gonna unsub, and I look forward to your next video, GCN, if you ever watch this. But everyone can make a bad video every once in a while. I just found this one to be really weak. I'm Skull Commentaries.